All right, so welcome to your slow flow, my friends. This will be a completely floor-based practice. You don't need any equipment for this evening except for maybe some extra cushioning or towels and for your knees. Keep yourself nice and warm and comfortable. The theme this evening, I love to go by themes each week, will really be about promoting calm and relaxation. So before we get started, I just want to share one of the styles of breathing that I'm going to encourage you to breathe through this evening. It'll be a very slow flow. We're going to come back to the roots of yoga. We're going to come back to the basics and the foundations of teaching our minds, bodies, spirits, energy to really come into alignment. And that's what yoga is all about. The word yoga means union. What are we uniting? So when we begin the practice with a breath-centric practice and the body starts to move through the asanas, the mind naturally starts to align and follow, which helps calm the fluctuations of a busy mind. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Ujjayi breath, let's just do a very quick review of that. We'll come on to our backs followed. So think about the breath being initiated from the upper thoracic cage. So when you take a deep inhalation through your nose, you should get a sense that there's this expansion of the rib cage. Think of your lungs as two big balloons inside of your rib cage, expanding, pressing on the inner edges of that deep connective tissue in your rib cage. So in traditional hatha yoga, the inhale is really from this above, and the exhale is a flattening of the abdomen, is a drawing in slightly of the lower belly. And you'll see the postures that we're going to do tonight will really facilitate that kind of a breath. And the reason is to help move prana, move life force energy through the energy channels to unlock those tight little areas and to get our juices flowing a little bit better. So Ujjayi breath, if you were to do that through your mouth, you would hear an audible sound. Think if you want to fog a mirror, clean your glasses with a warm breath. That sound that you feel and hear is what we call Ujjayi, the ocean sounding breath. And we want it rhythmic so that the inhale and the exhale are even in duration, right? So we're breathing in expansively, ideally through the nose. But you can always practice through the mouth to get that feeling of the swirling of air in the back of the throat, and then exhaling. All right, so when I share that through the practice tonight, it's going to be inhaling expansive breath, not forcing, but really expansion, and then the contraction of the drawing the belly in at the end of the exhale. So my friends, let's try that with our postures now. Come onto your back. We'll come right into the center of our mat. Start with your feet about hip distance apart on the floor. And as you get yourself set up, wiggle the shoulders down away from your ears. And draw the thighs towards your chest. So there's a very natural compressive element here of your thighs against the lower belly. So take 3 deep breaths on your own. If you feel that you just want to hold the knees with your hands, you can do that, or let the knees fall into the inner elbows. But just close your eyes here, and as you take your own 3 breaths, take time to check in with yourself. So probably a lot of activity went on for you today, and this is a wonderful time now just to evacuate any stress, any tension, any form of energy that isn't serving your highest good in this moment. So if there's anything you feel that you need to exhale that's distracting you, just imagine letting it out with your breath. Just give yourself permission to slow down and to move from your thinking mind into the feeling body. So let's do that now. We'll take our hands to our knees, and as you inhale, send your thighs a little bit away from your belly. And as you exhale, draw the thighs towards you. And just find that rocking motion of the thighs. So anytime we flow, and this is a slow flow here, the breath always starts before we move. So we start the inhalation a little bit before we let the thighs move away from us. And then we start the exhalation and we draw the thighs towards us. So try to get your breath movement longer than your body movement. So this is a really small body movement, so it shouldn't be that hard, but it still requires some concentration to be able to synchronize your breath with your movement, which is the main principle of all yoga practice. Without breath, without awareness, there's no yoga happening. Okay, it's just maybe stretching and our head is somewhere else. So yoga really teaches us And it's not always easy, but it's teaching us that discipline to calm the fluctuations of the mind by directing our focus. The mind needs a focus, it needs something to do initially before we get into that no mind space. And this is one way to do that. So, following the breath with the movement. And we'll do that one more time. Just the thighs and the knees moving away in a very rhythmic motion here. And the next time you send your thighs away from you, draw your feet down to the floor, hip distance apart, like you're standing on your feet, arms alongside of your body. And now rock your pelvis so that you're flattening your lower back. So really soothing for the lumbar vertebrae. So as you inhale, arch your back, so lifting the hip bones a little bit. And as you exhale, flattening the lower back against the floor. So what you're doing here is a pelvic tilt. So the pubic bone rises up, moves down towards the inner legs, and then the pubic bone comes back up. You can also feel the hip bones. The hip bones move upwards towards the ceiling as the lower back arches, and the hip bones move back towards the floor as your back flattens again. So the inhalation would be on the arching or the lifting of the hips without lifting your bum, just rotating the pelvis here a little bit, and then exhaling, flattening your back. Try to breathe through your nose. But if you feel in any way congested, you can always inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth initially. But that kind of breath helps slow all systems down. Our nervous system starts to down regulate. So last time, just your pelvis, and then draw the arms back alongside of your body. Walk your fingertips down towards your heels. Let all the air out. And then inhale, float the arms upwards overhead in a big V formation. And then exhale, draw the arms back down alongside of your body. Now practice that until you feel that your breath movement is longer than your body movement. So that means I'm starting my breath before I move. The breath carries me through the motion. And when the arms come down to the floor, there's still a little bit of breath either to go in or out, depending on what cycle you're in. So the inhale is expansive. It's opening. You'll feel that opening of the chest naturally in the rib cage just by this arm movement here that you're doing. So it seems like a simple movement, but it's actually quite nourishing for the entire shoulder joint, your upper arms, your upper back, and all those little postural muscles that tend to get tight when we are sitting in the same position all day without a lot of movement. So direct your mind to your breath. Inhale all the way up with the arms. Exhale, drawing the arms all the way back down. One more time, just the arms, and we're going to add a bridge formation in the next time that we do our next inhalation. So when you're ready, let's put all that together. So you're flattening the lower back, lifting with the pubic bone, pressing through your feet. Now you can elevate the pelvis upwards towards the ceiling in a bridge, and then roll vertebrae by vertebrae downwards as you release to the floor. And ideally, your hips and your arms will come to the floor at the same time. So inhale, rock the pelvis, start to lift the hips off the floor. The arms float up overhead. Arms reach up back behind you as the hips come up as high as you can. And do that same motion. So your speed of movement might be a little bit different than mine, and that's fine. You can do this with your eyes closed to really eliminate distraction and go into that feeling sense to see how you can begin to master this synchronization of breath and body movement. So as you'll notice, as your body and your mind become more relaxed, the breath will naturally start to lengthen, and it'll be easier to go longer and deeper into each posture that we're going to practice. So we'll do that one more time with the arms and the hips. And then the next time you exhale and the hips and the arms come back down, catch your knees back into your chest. Good. Now let's go 4 times in motion here. So you're going to release the knees, feet come to the floor, arms go overhead. That is your full inhalation. So it's a larger movement now. And then the exhalation, you lower the hips down, the arms come back up, and you catch the thighs back to your chest to compress the belly. Try that again. Keep going. So expansion as you breathe in, opening, and contraction as you exhale, drawing everything back in. So nourishing for the internal organs, getting circulation to your kidneys, your lower back, your adrenals, the intestines, and the belly. Feeling the posture assist the breath. Now, the next time those knees are in, open your arms nice and wide, about shoulder height here, and send both legs upwards towards the ceiling. And start to pedal your feet. Spread your toes nice and wide. And get a nice stretch through the ankles and the calves. Let the legs feel heavy. The same rhythmic flow of breath, ideally right here. And we'll do 4 times with the feet with that same breath that you did earlier with your thighs to your chest. So when you point both feet next time, take a breath in. And then start the breath out and begin to flex your feet and your toes towards you a little farther. Do it again. Breathing in, pointing both feet. And breathing out, draw the toes towards your nose. Soft knees, your whole back is well supported on the floor. Full expansion of your breath in and a gentle flattening of your belly as you breathe out. And the next time you exhale, let's catch the knees back to the chest. And do that in motion. So inhale next time, open the arms wide, send your legs up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, catch your knees back to your chest. Compress the lower belly with your thighs. Keep going. Breathing in, expanding arms and legs up. Breathing out through the nose, flattening the lower belly, drawing the navel into the spine. Ujjayi breath. So ujjayi, as I explained it earlier, is that sound that's happening in the back of your throat. It's actually translated as ocean-sounding breath. So it creates almost like this metronome or a mantra, which calms the mind in another way. So we'll do that one more time with the legs. Then we're going to put everything together that we've done so far. Okay, so each exhalation, the knees will always come back into the chest. Just our inhalation will change. So the next time you inhale, plant your feet on the floor, send your arms overhead, come back into that half bridge. And as you're ready to exhale, roll back down, catch your knees to your chest. So the knees are in, there's still a bit of air to go out. Send your legs skyward, open the arms wide. That's your next breath in. And then breathe out. Yes, draw the thighs to your chest. Do it again. Feet come to the floor, arms move up. Bridge formation. Use the strength of your legs and your glutes and your core to rise up. And you find how deep that you need to go into the pose as appropriate for your body, and then catch your knees again. Let's do 2 more rounds, my friends. So send those legs up, open the arms wide. Catch your knees as you exhale. Let all the air out. Beautiful. Let's take those arms up, feet to the floor. Maybe your body's getting used to it now, and you can go a little bit deeper, a little bit wider, a little bit more expansive. So nourishing for the spine, and then release again. And then last time with your legs upwards. When you're ready to breathe in, send them up, open the arms wide, and then catch those knees to the chest. Plant your feet on the floor, extend both legs out in front of you, arms alongside of your body. Still synchronizing that breath and body movement. Let's flex the feet, draw the toes towards you. Start to move the lower back towards the floor so that your core is slightly engaged. Chin moves into the chest. Now let's inhale and lift the left leg and the right arm up until they're both vertical. And then exhale, you'll draw the arm and the leg back down towards the floor. Good. Let's do that on the other side. So inhaling your left arm, right leg up to vertical. And then exhaling, letting them come back down. So let's continue that, alternate side to side. And I'd like you to find in your own body just the right amount of balance between your suppleness, the flexibility that asks of you, of the motion here, taking the arm and the leg up, but also just the right amount of steadiness, because it does require some stability of the core muscles and the hip muscles and the shoulder to be able to do that. It's not too strenuous, but just enough to stimulate the muscles to start undoing the deeper tensions in those joints. So I invite you to stay with the same rhythmic flow of breath that you've established already in those other movements that we've done so far. Breathe in on the way up. Breathe out on the way down through your nose. Always start the breath a little bit before you move so that the breath carries you through. And when you've stopped moving, there's still a little bit of breath to go in or to go out at the end. Your breath movement is longer than your body movement. Your inhale is expansive from above, mid-thoracic cage, and your exhale flattens the lower abdomen, drawing the belly in. So that principle will follow us through just the asana or the postures that change. Let's do one more time. Depending on what side that you started on, just finish up with both sides. And when that's complete, you can draw your knees back into your chest. Rock yourself side to side. Good. Now take your forehead up to both knees, lengthen your spine. You can catch the back of the thighs with your hands and let yourself rock and roll a few times here. And this will bring us into a child's pose. So after 3 or 4 nice spinal massage rocks, let's make our way onto our knees. So essentially, it's the same position that we were just in, but now on your knees with your arms extended ahead of you. So child's pose. We'll start with the knees a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Relax your toes, relax your feet. Start to stretch the arms forward and descend the shoulders down towards the floor. Give it a little rock side to side. Good. Now let's synchronize our breath a little bit differently now. Just a different pose, same breath. Inhale, you'll come onto all fours. Spread your fingers nice and wide and curl those toes under when you come up. And as you exhale, bring yourself back to sit to your heels to that child's pose. Start the breath before you move. Come up into table, curl the toes, anchor the knuckles and the fingertips, and then exhale, release back. Keep going. Breathing in on the way up. So we repeat the same movement several times. Once your brain knows where you're going, then you can just kind of let that go. And we get to a point where you're no longer really moving through the mind or the body. That becomes secondary. It's the energy body that is starting to take over. So the breath that is moving you. And as the body repeats the same rhythmic motion, then the mind really just starts to follow and it starts to calm down. And when the mind gets calmer, then our bodies become more relaxed and our nervous systems start to downregulate. We start to release any of the speediness or the busyness from the day, and we start to feel a little bit heavier, a little slower. So we'll do that one more time. Then we're going to change motions the next round. So the next time we inhale, we'll stand right up onto our knees. So you might bring the knees a little bit closer, roll the spine upwards, bring your bum in, float the arms upwards to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, come back down to the child's pose. Sit to your heels, stretch the arms out. Keep going. So breathing in, floating the upper body. Let the upper body just feel kind of heavy and loose. But you've got nice stability through the lower body, through the hips and the thighs and the knees. And how does your back feel? I like to undulate my spine sometimes as I move up, kind of rolling and rounding. So if that feels good for you, you can explore. So the whole idea of this kind of a flow, slow flow allows us to move into curious explorations. Like, how does it feel if I go more vertical? Or how does it feel if I bring my knees a little bit wider, a little bit more narrow? So there's no right or wrong in this movement. You're really just learning how to move your body so that it starts to unleash your own energy and starts to undo any holding patterns that you have from your habitual postural positions or sports that you play or any activities that you repetitively do. So let's go another one like that. And then we'll put those two phases here together on the next one. So the exhale will always be that child's pose. Next time you inhale, come to table pose, all fours, curl the toes under. Exhale, move back into child's pose. Inhale, stand on your knees, rise the arms up, bum comes in. Fully extend like a nice upward cobra, and then exhale, come back to your child's balasana. Into your table on your next breath in, curl the toes, spread the fingers. That's it. Exhale, sit back to child's. Keep going towards the ceiling, rise up. Exhale, come to child's and into that table position. We'll do another full round here. Letting the breath carry you through. And maybe feeling a little looser, allowing yourself to extend through the upper back a little bit more. And then into table position. So next time we come to table, we're going to switch up the moves again. So knees are hip distance apart, shoulders down. Rock yourself forward onto your hands a little bit more. Now chin, chest lower. So glue those elbows towards your sides. Lower down. Feel the strength of shoulders and arms here. Send your legs back. And let's widen the legs a little bit, hip to shoulder distance apart. And we'll do the same thing with the hands. And now give me a couple of cobras. So we're going to send the legs far, far back. Anchor into the hips. Keep your chin in as you roll the upper back off the floor here. So it's the upper back, upper chest, and then roll back down. And the undulating motion. So inhale, wave your body up. And so with the legs and the hands a little bit wider, it's a more forgiving way to practice cobra. Easier on the sacroiliac joint in the lower back that already tend to get very compressed if we are spending any amount of time sitting during the day. And I'll often share that and most of us spend a good amount of time in a seated position, this would be the go-to pose to do. Because look what it's doing to your body. It's putting all of your joints into extension from your ankles, your knees, your hips, your spine. Whereas when we're sitting, everything is in flexion. Gets tight. So let's do one more wave like that. And we're going to come back into the sequence of the table and the child's pose. So bring your hands back under the shoulders, curl the toes under, pushing up, sit back to the child's. Inhale, float the arms up. Standing on those knees. Exhale, come back to your child's. Inhale, come to all fours. Keep going forward, curl the toes under, chin, chest lower down. Roll yourself into one cobra. Release to the floor. Pushing up back to all fours. Slowly into your child's pose. Can you find a nice rhythmic flow here? Stand on your knees, float the arms upwards. Take a breath in, bring your bum in. Lead with your chest and heart. Exhale, release to child's. Soften. Into all fours. Start the breath before you move. Let it carry you there. All the way down, chin, chest lower to the floor, elbows glued. Roll yourself into that cobra pose. Get nice and long. Doesn't matter how high you go. Find the length first. Push up onto all fours. And back into your child's pose. Let's go a few more rounds. Roll and round. Stand up on the knees. Float the arms up. Full breath in. Full breath out as you release back down into child's. Inhale to your table, curl the toes under. Glue those elbows to your sides, chin, chest lower. Smooth flow going into cobra. Releasing back to the floor. Nice belly stretch. Inhale, rise up. All fours sitting back. You know the flow. Keep going. Stand on the knees. Fill the lungs. And release. Into all fours. And to the earth. Inhale nice and long. Exhale, release. Pushing up. And sitting back. Take a pause as you go back into your child's pose. Breathe. Rock your hips side to side. Allow the belly just to gently compress against the thighs. We're going to move into some breath retentions here with the next cobra. So let's come on back to all fours here. Lower back down onto your belly. Legs a little bit wider, hands a little bit wider. We'll go with a few twists here first. So inhale, come nice and long in the cobra. As you exhale, lead with your right shoulder, look behind your left shoulder, and go back down. So inhale, come up into that cobra nice and long. Exhale, other side, leading with the left, looking over the right shoulder. Keep going like that. Keep your shoulders down and soft away from your ears. Good. So finding the range of motion that feels just right for your body here. So you don't need to go too high. There should never be feelings of pinching or pain in our bodies anywhere. A little intensity, some deep sensation at times. Yes, absolutely. And that's how we get better, is when we do come out of our comfort zone a little bit. And the goal to allow ourselves to go into deeper relaxation is to move into these deeper layers of our bodies. So after that last one, come back down to the center. We're going to introduce the retention and suspension of breath. So the next time you inhale, anchor your hips. Just come up about midway, take a breath in, and hold the breath in at your throat. No movement, no breath. And then exhale, roll back down, flatten your belly, draw the navel in, no breath, suspend. Now inhale, roll yourself back up midway into a halfway cobra. Breathe in, hold. No breath, no movement. And exhale, flatten the abdomen. The floor will kind of help you do that already. Pull the navel inwards, no breath, suspend. 2 more like that. Here we go. Inhale, up. No breath. Exhale, slowly down. Navel comes in, suspend, no breath. Last time, rolling back up, halfway into your cobra. Hold the breath. And release down to the bottom. Draw the belly in, suspend, no movement, no breath. And release. Take your arms alongside of your body now. Turn your head to one side. Close your eyes and rest. You might want to wiggle your hips. So if you do hold on to tension in your lower back, just give it a little relaxation here. Wiggle the hips. Let's take 3 deep breaths. Send the breath down into the lower lobes of the lungs now. See if you can feel the lungs a little bit more. We've been working a lot through the respiratory muscles so far. And just let it all go. And as we move a little bit more deeply into the hips, take your hands forward. You can rest your chin on your hands here if you'd like, or your forehead. Bend your knees, part your knees a little bit, and just let your legs move from right to left. So windshield wiper motion. So this is really nice for the sacroiliac joint, for the hips, all those deep little rotators that we don't usually go and say hello to unless we traditionally do these kind of movements in our functional exercises or exercise programs. So rotational movements are important for the health of our hips and our lower spine. And then we're going to keep the knees wide. Maybe you can even walk them another inch wider. I'm going to go a touch wider. And let's bring the soles of the feet together like you're doing a bound angle here with the feet together. Now see if you can bring your heels towards your bum. Press into your forearms here in front of you just to get some more length and space between your navel and your sternum. So it's like you're trying to slide yourself nice and long here through the torso. So we're not coming up too high, but we want to feel an anchoring in space there. Okay. So now try to press your pubic bone down to the floor and the 2 hip bones. Also imagining that the tailbone is curling downwards towards the floor. So you're getting length through the lower spine. Now, once you've got all that, press the feet together. So keep pressing. You want to bring some firmness between those 2 feet. You're going to feel probably the glutes and the hamstrings. See if there's any other muscles that are working. If it's unnecessary tension in your shoulders or your neck, consciously let that go. And then stop the pushing. Just release. Give your hips a little wiggle. We're going to do that again. So it's a nice hip and low back release. Change the angle a little bit. So press the feet away from you slightly more, and then bring the feet together. It's going to be a different sensation. And do your best to keep the pubic bone and the hip bones anchored to the floor as you continue the pressing, the little bit of pressure here between your feet. Take a breath, and then release. Good. Undo those feet. Give them one more windshield wiper from right to left. And then take the legs back down alongside of your body. Good. Let's give it a push up, my friends. Hands under the shoulders. And then back into your child's pose. Let's bring the knees hip distance apart. Sit to your heels. And now this time sending both arms over to the right side. So left hand comes on top of the right. And pull your hips over to the left. Take your head down between your arms. Long, slow, deep breath. Just melt into that angled child's pose, which allows for some deeper flexibility and suppleness through the shoulder and the side ribs down to your hip. And then get ready to walk the hands over to the other side. This time, right hand on top of left. Pull the hips over to the right side. Breathing into the side body here, just a nice lateral flexion, getting into the lat muscles, the shoulder, the ribs. And just feel what it's like just to take a deep breath, because anytime we breathe, we're stretching all that deep connective tissue and respiratory muscles from the inside out. Slow, steady, rhythmic flow, nothing forced. That beautiful principle in yoga that's called Sthira Sukha Asanam. Steadiness with ease. No struggle, no strain. Just enough to feel sensation that we're able to breathe. Come on back through the center here. And roll yourself back up onto your knees. Take your arms forward, and we'll do a little windmill action here. So curl the toes under, standing up on the knees. All right, and we'll start with the right arm. So right arm goes up and back, and the torso turns. Your head follows, and then bring it back. Other arm. So left arm goes up and back. And check in with the mobility there. So this is great for shoulders, upper back, mid-thoracic spine, all those postural muscles. Just breathe with it. Good. Let the shoulders and the arms feel heavy. So it's kind of like any flowing motion. In Tai Chi, that's a really big teaching that I learned years ago from a teacher, that if we have to hold the same position for up to 5 minutes, we have to learn to be relaxed in motion. So if you're holding on to tension through your shoulders, your upper back, or your neck, you'll get tired really fast. So it's just like our work days or life. What we resist persists. So whatever we push back on keeps going, creating more stress and more tension within our minds and our bodies. This teaches us to learn how to go with the flow, let it go. Even though there may be challenge, we don't resist it. We just work through the breath in our own range of motion. Good. Last time. So feel how the upper spine maybe is starting to feel more elastic, more supple, more freedom and movement in your body. I said one more, but I'll do one more again because it feels good. Last time on the left. Love that one. When you're done, give your arms a little shake. Bring circulation down to your fingers. Let's have a seat with the legs extended out in front of us. Walk your bum back so that we can get the legs nice and long. And we'll take the right foot into the inside of the left thigh here. This is a head to knee pose. So anchor yourself evenly into both sit bones. Now the lower leg, there's slight firmness. There's no rigidity, but it's not too soft either. All right, so that nice balance. Let's take the arms up, breathing in, and just follow your gaze on the floor ahead of you. It's like you're just focusing on a point. So this requires a bit of stability, lengthening through the waist, lengthen through the arms. Find length right up through the fingertips. Take your chin down towards your chest to lengthen the neck. Open through the collarbone area. See if you can broaden. It's not always so easy in that position to do, but do your best to get long and open. And as you exhale, forward fold, draw the belly down towards the thigh. Let's take the hands towards the floor. Now rise back up with a breath in. So remember expansion, nice big V formation, expand the upper chest. And then exhale, draw the lower belly in as you release down. Good. So that natural motion that we talked about in the beginning is happening here through this posture. Contraction, scooping the belly in, flattening the abdomen, and then inhaling, expanding through the upper rib cage, opening through the shoulders, And just keep going by feel. If you want to keep your eyes open, just follow your gaze or close your eyes, and allows us to move into the feeling sense of our body. And that's really, if we can use the word goal in yoga, is what helps us be present. It's very difficult to be present if we're in our thinking minds, evaluating, judging, having opinions. Yoga teaches us that there's no like or dislike. It's just seeing things as they are. So remember, you're starting the breath before you move. The breath in carries you up, and the breath out carries you down, drawing the belly in. So after you do that one more time, we're going to stay forward. And notice now, is there greater resiliency in your body after having repeated that many times? Stay low. You can keep your hands on the floor if you'd like, on your leg, or even reaching for your foot as you wish. Forehead moves towards the knee without straining. And now practice that same breath again. So this time, you're breathing through the ribs in the back part of your body. So expanding the shoulder blades with each inhalation. And as you exhale, flattening the belly. Another way of moving prana through from the base of the spine upwards to the crown along the length of the spine. Very nourishing for the spine, intervertebral discs, inner organs. And that rhythmic flow of breath trains our nervous system to restore its vital balance. We're going to change up this movement here a little bit. Lifting the chest, internally rotate your left shoulder so that you're reaching, thumb is pointing down, grabbing onto your leg, ankle, or foot. Right arm moves forward. Right arm moves up. Anchor your hips into the floor. Take the arm vertical first, and then take your arm back as far as you can behind you, and then place your hand on the lower back, or maybe wrapping it around the lower back to reach for your pants or your opposite inner thigh. Now, from this position, as we root not only the tailbone, but the two sit bones downwards, the next time you inhale, we focus on the elongation of the spine. And as you exhale, the left ribs move towards the right. And it might be very subtle at this point. And the head gently turns to look behind the shoulder. Now finding your space or your edge in the pose where there is just the equal amount of suppleness and stability. No struggle, no strain, just as we're not completely checked out either. There's a bit of effort, yet effort with ease. Breathing in, expand, elongation. Exhalation, gentle compression, contraction, letting go. 2 more breaths. Start to release your back hand. When you inhale, arm comes back the same way it went in. So behind you, we bring it up and back down to the floor in front of us, returning to that forward fold. This time, walk your hands towards your hips as you unravel yourself, lifting the torso. Good. And then extend the opposite leg, sitting straight. And this time, let's take the left foot inside the inner thigh of the right. Okay, so line up your hip, your knee, and your ankle here. So just the right amount of firmness and suppleness. Take the arms up. Let's get nice and long. This time we'll open the arms on a little bit wider V formation to encourage a bit of external rotation through the shoulders. So that means you're turning your little fingers towards one another as you move the shoulders down away from your ears. So there's a bit of depression and retraction of the shoulder blades. Try to get that sense of what's happening here in my upper back. Is it stuck back there, or is it moving well tonight? Okay, those are areas that almost everybody gets little knots of tension in. So see if you can get that moving. Good. Now breathe into that space. So think that you're expanding collarbone and you're expanding upper back above your shoulder blades. Is that possible? Energy flows where focus goes. So, where are you placing the gift of your attention right now? When you're ready to exhale, draw the lower belly in. So, flattening the abdomen, forward fold your torso. Let the hands come to the floor. Let the air out. Float back up. Let's keep going. Inhale, rise up. Really heavy and relaxed. And then release on the way down. Flatten the belly. So, just focus on the contraction, expansion with your inhale and your exhale. Smooth breath. It takes practice to breathe in that fashion, the whole practice like that. Ujjayi breathing. Smooth, steady, rhythmic flow. Let's do that 2 more times. Start the breath before you move. Let it carry you through your motion. The next time your torso is in forward fold, stay there. Allow the upper body to relax. Forehead moves in the direction of your knee. And this time, as you rest in this pose, expand the middle back with your breath in. So you're breathing into your back body now. And still flattening the abdomen gently as you exhale, which is more natural. We're already in a compressive posture. So these kind of moves, compressions and twists, are very nourishing for the internal abdominal organs. So yoga is a way of restoring our optimal health as we practice the 3 pillars of proper movement, proper rest, and the third is proper nutrition. So hydrating and nourishing your body with live, real, whole foods. That gets ready to transition this pose into the twist. So lift your torso just a little bit. Internally rotate here your right hand, your right hand. Left arm moves forward. Inhale, rise the arm up. Take the hand to the lower back. Lengthen through the torso as you breathe in. And gently twist, taking the right ribs towards the left side as you breathe out. Expand, breathing in. Contract, breathing out. Try to get a sense that your entire body is breathing. Every cell is being oxygenated. There's more circulation. Where there's more circulation, there's more well-being. There's less discomfort, less restriction, less pain. More elasticity, more supple body to do all the activities you love to do with greater ease. And after your next breath, you can release the arm back upwards and back to the front. Forward fold one final time. And then roll yourself back up into a seated position, walking your hands towards your torso. Yes, good. Unravel those legs, give them a bit of a shake and a roll in and out. Good. We'll come onto our backs now. We'll return to the floor with a final double knee twist and then move right into Shavasana for relaxation. So while you're sitting, if there's any socks or clothes or anything that you'd like to put on, this would be a good time to do that as we come down onto our backs. Okay, so with the feet close together, as you return to the floor, lift and lower your pelvis to realign just like where we started earlier in the practice. And the arms will stay wide, shoulders relaxed. Take a nice natural breath in. As you breathe out, the knees will move to the right and the head slowly turns to the left. And just stay there. And allow for a natural breath here and just see how your body settles into this shape. How it feels through the hips, your back, your shoulders. Sending breath down into your belly now, a little bit deeper than you did earlier. Natural breath. There's no struggle, no trying to shift or control anything. Just give yourself permission to completely let yourself go in this position. Gradually bring your knees back to the center and over to the other side. So as the knees move left, your head will turn right. Upper back supported on the floor. Feeling those first couple of breaths descend into your abdomen as you settle in, aware of your knees, your hips, your spine, your shoulders. And we just surrender to it. Give yourself permission to feel completely heavy in this pose. And as you bring yourself back into a neutral position, from here you can extend your legs out in front of you, nice and wide, arms wide, palms facing upwards. Shake anything out that needs to be released or shaken out. Close your eyes, take one final controlled breath where you inhale through your nose and then exhale with a sigh. Sometimes we need to do a few of those if there's anything else you need to let go of. Surrendering now to a natural breath and a very heavy, released body. Allowing a wave of relaxation to wash over you. Directing your attention to each body part as we go through, feeling the scalp and all the muscles around your head released, including your ears, your forehead, your eyes, your cheeks, your jaw, relaxing your mouth, your lips, your tongue. Notice your throat and your neck, shoulders, arms heavy, hands relaxed and curling into their very natural position. Melt and merge the torso towards the ground, upper back, middle back, lower back, chest and collarbones, middle rib cage, lower belly. Feel the weight of your bum pressing into the floor. Surrender your hips and your pelvis, your thighs, your knees, lower legs, ankles, feet, toes. You may repeat internally, my body is relaxed. My mind is at ease. My heart is at peace. My body is relaxed. My mind is at ease. My heart is at peace. Rest now, my friends, in peace and harmony, stillness, until I call you back. If you have the time and you wish to stay in Shavasana a little bit longer, feel free to do so. You can always just turn off the video. As we begin to conclude our practice, if you're ready to come back, very slow movement to fingers and toes. Any kind of instinctual stretch that you feel that your body might need, gradually releasing the body and then coming onto your side to rest for a few moments. And give yourself permission to take a deeper breath in to rise yourself up so that you're not too lightheaded. If you're making your way back with us here into seated, keep your eyes closed, stay really still. Hands on your knees. Just feeling the effects of your practice, as our theme this evening was for calm and relaxation through the traditional slow flow. See how that is landing in your body and your mind. Noticing what might have shifted for you. And we'll complete with one final breath, floating the arms upwards. And taking the hands back to your center. Namaste.